Hello, I want you to picture this for a minute. You're sitting at your desk in school, you're listening as well as you can, but the teacher's talking, and you zone out for about 1 minute, just 1 minute. And when you zone back in, all of a sudden it sounds like they're speaking another language completely. They're throwing these words about, and everyone else around you seems to be nodding their head, and you haven't the faintest idea what they're saying because you've never even heard these words before in your life. Well, today's lesson could be a little bit like that if you don't pay attention to the very start. So the first thing that you need to hear is the word polygons. Now, if you know what they are, the idea is pretty simple. The word won't confuse you. And it's the same deal with quadrilaterals. They're also a really simple idea, but as you know well, teachers and people who do maths and literacy, for some reason they like to make these words as confusing as possible so that if you do zone out, you get completely confuddled by the names. So, let's break it down. Polygons are shapes with straight sides. That's literally all it means. Now, if you want to get really fancy here and you could impress people with this knowledge, I'm not sure really who you'd impress, but sure, you could give it a go. Poly means many. And, for example, a polyglot is somebody who speaks many languages, and gons is from the Greek word for angles. So polygons are shapes with many angles. I suppose it makes sense, right? So to recap a little bit from yesterday, the first thing you need to know about polygons is that they are 2D shapes. The second thing is that they're made up of completely straight sides, and it doesn't matter how wacky they look, if they've got straight sides, they are a polygon. Now, that means that they don't have any curvy sides. So it doesn't matter how hard they try, if they've got one curvy side, I'm afraid they are not a polygon. And one more thing that you may or may not have thought of is it has to be a closed shape. So this shape isn't a closed shape. You can see that there's a little gap here. So I'm afraid this guy is not a polygon. So in that case, what is a polygon? Well, I hope you're ready for this, because a polygon could be a triangle, which incidentally has an interesting name called a trigon. There you go. A quadrilateral, or a tetragon, a pentagon, a hexagon, a heptagon, an octagon, a nonagon, a decagon, a hendecagon, a dodecagon, goodness, this one's hard to say, a triskidecagon, which has got 13 sides, a tetrakidecagon, and yeah, you get the idea. It starts going up again in a pattern. It goes pentadecagon, hexakidecagon, or whatever. Most people aren't going to ask you to know the ones past 10. And sometimes they'll throw in 12 for some reason. I don't know why a 12-sided shape is more important than an 11-sided shape, but it just is. Now, out of all these gons, we are talking about quadrilaterals. Now, quadrilaterals have 4 straight sides. So they are a type of polygon, but they've specifically got 4 straight sides. And the reason why we're going to focus on quadrilaterals is because we have special names for an awful lot of these quadrilaterals. Let's get into the first few of them. So just as with yesterday, we start off with the simple ones. Now, this here is a rectangle. And what's special about a rectangle is that all of its angles are right angles, meaning that they are 90 degrees. And it's got 2 pairs of parallel lines. It's got parallel lines on the sides, and it's got parallel lines on the top and bottom. Now, a square, funnily enough, is actually a type of rectangle, because a square also has 90-degree right angles, and it's also got 2 sets of parallel lines. But as you know, all the sides on a square are the same length. So, that's it, right? Wrong. There's an awful lot more quadrilaterals to talk about. So the next quadrilateral that we're going to talk about, the next shape with 4 sides, that is, has got only 1 set of parallel lines, and the other lines are not parallel. This shape is called a trapezium. Sometimes you hear it called a trapezoid. The reason why you hear it called that is because that's what they call it in America. but don't call it that, call it a trapezium so that nobody gets confused. It's got one pair of parallel lines, as we already talked about, at the top and the bottom, and the angles here and here are the same, and the angles here and here are the same. There's something else that's special about the angles in a trapezium, and to recognize that, you need to know a little bit about angles. So bear with me very quickly, and let's have a quick diversion. So this, as you know, is a right angle, and to pull in some of the vocabulary that we used yesterday, this is a set of lines that are perpendicular to each other. So this here forms a right angle, and if you were to measure it with a protractor, you would measure it at 90 degrees. And we'll talk about how to measure angles and all that sort of stuff another time. This is a right angle. Now, there's another type of angle which is smaller than that. So if we were to take this right angle and squish it down like this, it would look something like that. And if you were to measure this angle here, it would be less than 90 degrees. And we call this acute, as in not cute, but acute. And no, that's not because it's got floppy ears and a little nose and cute eyes. No, it's acute because it's less than 90 degrees. And the opposite is if we were to take our right angle and instead of pushing it down this way, if we pushed it round back that way. And the most important thing is that it is greater than 90 degrees. This type of angle is called an obtuse angle. And the way I like to remember this, it's almost like it's just lying back there on a couch. It's got a nice big round belly, and its shirt is just coming up and you can see its belly button poking out. So that's how I remember that it's an obtuse angle. So now that you know some basic words, you know that there's right angles, obtuse angles, and acute angles. Let's go back up and have a look at our trapezium, not our trapezoid. That's a wrong term for it, no. So our trapezium has got two acute angles, one here and one here. And it's also got two obtuse angles, one here and one here. So the acute angles are less than 90 degrees, and the obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees. So our next shape really lives up to its name, and in some ways it's rather like a rectangle. So it starts off with parallel lines, and like a rectangle, it's actually got two sets of parallel lines. But what's different is that the angles are different. So you can see here that I've got a set of parallel lines along here, and I've got a set of parallel lines along here. So what is it that makes it different from a rectangle? Well, having a look at the angles, I've got an obtuse angle here and an obtuse angle here, and I've got acute angle and another acute angle here. Whereas, as you know, a rectangle only has right angles. Now, if you couldn't guess earlier by the hint I gave you, this is called a parallelogram. And it's always fun to spell because people always get confused with the number of R's, the number of L's here, and the number of L's here. But if you just remember, it's para and then lelogram. I like to make that longer when I say it in my head, and that helps me remember. Sometimes you have to say silly things in order to help you remember stuff. So that's a parallelogram. The next shape that we're going to talk about is a little bit similar to the parallelogram in the very same way that a square is similar to a rectangle. So let's have a look at it really quickly. Now, this is a shape that lots of people tend to get confused with a parallelogram. But there's one key difference. Now, the reason people think it's like a parallelogram is you can see it's got two obtuse angles, two acute angles. You can see that it's got parallel lines here and parallel lines here. But you'll notice that all four of the sides are the same length. So that means it is called a rhombus. A rhombus. So the way I remember this is a parallelogram is just a slanty rectangle, and a rhombus is just a slanty square. There's one more thing about rhombuses that you need to know. Sometimes people will take a rhombus and turn it on its side, and they'll call it a diamond. And really, it's the same shape, it's just been rotated around. And the way to tell whether it's a diamond or if it's just a square that's been turned around is literally take the sheet that you're looking at and turn it around, and you'll be able to tell whether it's a rhombus or a square. Take one last look at this rhombus, and remember all four sides are the same length. There's one more shape that we need to look at, and that shape looks a little bit like a rhombus turned on its edge, but there's something really important that's different. I wonder if you can spot it. So hopefully you spotted that yes, it indeed has four sides, and yes, it's pointing the same direction as a rhombus that's been turned around, but these two sides are the same length, and these two sides are the same length. This shape is called a kite. Which makes sense because it looks like a kite. The thing to remember though is that with a kite, these two angles on a kite are always going to be the same. The top and the bottom angles, not so much. So there you have it, there's a quick overview of quadrilaterals. And now you can walk into the dining room, lean on the kitchen table and say, hey, Mum, should I set the irregular quadrilateral? And she'll probably look at you with a bit of a blank face. I once had a student of mine go home and say just that, and the mum thought she was saying bad words and told her off. So just be careful, because not everybody will understand what a regular quadrilateral is, just like you now do.